Good morning, dear students. This is Sudha ma'am. Welcome back to third session of lesson 3, that is animal fiber. In our previous session, we have studied about the processing of silk from the silkworm and uses of silk and life cycle of silk moth. In this session, we are going to learn about the story of wool. Wool is obtained from the hair of the domesticated animals like sheep. The hair is also called as fleece. Apart from sheep, wool also comes from Angora goat, yak, llama, alpaca, and camels, etc. All these animals have a thick fur of hair or fleece which keep them warm. As they are living in colder regions, a thick fur grows on their bodies to protect them from cold. If you see desert animal camel, no hair on its body because it cannot bear hair, which makes it further hotter. Where do we get sheep or goat that gives us wool? In the states of India like Jammu Kashmir, Himachal Pradesh, Uttaranchal, Arunachal Pradesh, Sikkim, Haryana, Punjab, Rajasthan, and Gujarat. In these states, these animals are reared on large farms for the purpose of wool. Good quality of wool obtained from merino sheep. This can give about 5 to 18 kgs of wool per year. It is very fine quality and most valuable. From the wool, we can make sweaters, mufflers, hats, long coats, etc. Why do we use woolen fabric? Wool is a poor conductor of heat. If we wear a sweater, the air is trapped in between the woolen fibers and our body. The air prevents the flow of heat from our body to outside surroundings. So, we feel hot and are protected from let's cold. Discuss the processing of wool. During spring season, the fleece of the sheep is removed from its body by using razors. This process is called shearing. It is removed with a thin layer of dead skin, so it does not pain or harm the organism. Why shearing is done in spring season? Spring season is followed by summer, so these organisms cannot bear the heat with that fleece. And anyhow, the fleece grow again before the commencement of winter to protect them from cold. Hence, always they shear in the spring season. The sheared skin with the hair is washed with chemicals in the stream water of tanks and stirred with spades to remove grease, dirt and dust. This process is called scouring. After washing, it is differentiated into separate piles based on their texture and type, like coarse one, soft one, broken one, long one, short one, like that. This process is called sorting or wool classing. Then it is bleached for whitening and dyed with different colors. Then these colored fibers are allowed to pass through a comb-like structure attached to a machine. This machine is known as combing machine and this process is called combing. Wool comes out in the form of a thick strand or thread. From there, a machine rolls and pulls it out into a thick rope and later it is twisted into a long thread. This process is called spinning. These resultant long threads of yarn are used for making woolen fabric so as to form interlocking loops and rings of woolen yarn. This process is called knitting. You might have observed your mummy, aunt are knitting sweaters, monkey caps, mufflers, etc. to the family members. In addition to handmade process of knitting, weaving is done by using hand looms and power looms. Weaving is a method in which two distant sets of yarn or threads are interlaced at right angles to form a fabric or cloth. In the process of weaving, woolen threads are stretched from top of the loom to the bottom. These vertical threads are called warp threads. WARP, warp threads. The horizontal threads that go from side to side are called weft threads. WEFT, weft threads. A shuttle having a big needle takes the weft threads under the warp threads. Here we need to know about harness, which lifts every other warp thread so that weft thread go over one and under the next. All the type of yarn, whether it is cotton, wool or silk, are woven in the same manner. Let's observe the flow chart to show the processes involved from obtaining wool to producing fabric. Shearing. Removal of fleece from the organism is called shearing, followed by scouring. Washing the fleece to remove the grease, dust and dirt is scouring, followed by sorting. Based on its texture and type, it is made into separate files, what we call it as sorting. And bleaching is done for whitening, followed by dyeing, which is meant for imparting different colors. Now the wool is passed through a carding machine. This combs into loose wool fibers, what we call it as combing. From there, a machine rolls and pull it into a thick rope, and later it is twisted into a long thread, which is called spinning. The resultant yarn is wound into balls of wool. By using these balls, we can make woolen fabric by the process of knitting or weaving. This is briefly about the flow chart. Now coming to the uses of wool. Wool is used for making fabrics, clothes, shawls, sweaters, mufflers, hats, etc., which help us to keep us warm. It is used for making carpets, blankets, etc. It is used for soundproofing. It helps to put off fire. In this process, the problems we need to know are the people who are involved in silk processing, due to continuous handling of silkworms and silk fibers, suffer from skin and respiratory problems. In the same way, even the people who involved in wool processing suffer from respiratory diseases like asthma, bronchitis, etc., due to inhalation of small hair while sorting and scouring of wool. They also suffer from various skin diseases. Let's summarize today's session. In this session, we are studied about the processing of wool and uses of wool. On the whole, we studied the story of silk and the story of wool in this lesson. That's all for today. meet you in our next session. Thank you.